voice. Talk 96.3 and 103.7. Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
What our city needs right now is healing. We need peace.
As you see the storm, it continues through the state of Texas right now. The early reports show that we have no loss of life.
We're going to start doing damage assessments.
What this president's going to do is lay out what he's done over the last 4 years.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a Political Trivia Thursday. I think this question will go quick today when we get to it. The category is the Great Depression. So stay tuned for that. Got a prize package worth over 200 smackers. Hurricane Laura lived up to the predictions. You know, this was a tropical storm. Within a 24-hour period, it was Category 1, and within another 24 hours, it was up to Category 4. It's back to a Category 1. By this point, it might actually be down to a tropical storm, but devastation is the key word. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana says it looks like a bomb went off. He said, "I'm not going to bubble wrap it. We took it full in the face. Heavy rains, winds battered Louisiana. There's a large fire at a chemical plant outside of Lake Charles. And the governor there, John Bell, has encouraged people, John Bell Edwards, I should say, encouraged people to stay indoors. But it is a mess down there. Sad story, a fatality. A 14-year-old girl died when a tree fell on her home, according to the governor. The storm roared into Louisiana. 135-mile-an-hour gusts and 85-mile-an-hour sustained wind were measured in Lake Charles, and Lake Charles is 45 miles inland. So this was a beast. So when you think about it, say a prayer for the folks down in Louisiana. WITN News is reporting East Carolina University has identified 2 new clusters of COVID-19. A cluster is when 5 or more people within a dormitory or a sorority house or something like that is tested positive. ECU says they have 8 positive cases within the dorm and 9 positive cases at a sorority. The university announced on Sunday that it was switching to online instruction because of this. I was out yesterday and I was talking to a young lady who was a freshman. And I asked her, do you know of any cases of COVID-19 from friends of yours on campus? And she said, oh, yeah. She said, there's one sorority house. Everybody in the sorority house has COVID-19. And then my next question was, okay, are any of them sick? Any of them? Are any of them in bed? Are any of them feeling ill? She said, no, not one. She knows of no one. She knows a lot of people that have been tested positive, but knows of no one of the students who have any kind of symptoms. All of them are asymptomatic. You know, I mentioned yesterday, and we hear about, these students have tested positive and the world is coming to an end. I would like to see some information. How many are sick in bed? How many are in the hospital? How many are in the ICU? How many have died? Somebody mentioned to me yesterday after I said that, and here's the thing. If even one was in the hospital, that would be blaring headline news day after day after day. Now, again, I'm not saying you're callous and foolish about COVID-19, but are we not going overboard here when they're all asymptomatic? And again, this is an observation. East Carolina University announced today the season opening football game against Marshall on September the 12th, and Dowdy-Fickling Stadium has been postponed because of COVID-19. We are disappointed we won't be able to host Marshall for the season opener, but our top priority remains the health and safety of our student athletes, coaches, staff, fans, and community, said John Gilbert. Mike Hamrick and Marshall have been tremendous to work with as we are trying to reschedule the game. No specific date. So now ECU is scheduled to open the 2020 season on September the 26th against UCF. according to a revised AAC schedule released today. The Pirates and the Thundering Herd do plan to reschedule, don't know when. So Mark Emmett, I should say, of the NCAA, president of the NCAA, he has released a statement. The only thing this statement is telling us is that Mark Emmett is really wanting to show off his wokeness. Other than that, this statement is pretty meaningless. He says the events in Kenosha once again lay bare a tragic outcome resulting from police interaction with a person of color. It has also once again brought to the forefront the issues of race, social justice, and social responsibility that we all need to commit to. Peaceful protest is a powerful tool to drive social change, and we fully support student athletes' right to be heard. Action also drives change, and we urge all student athletes to exercise their right and responsibility to vote this November 3rd to build a better and more inclusive America. That's just a bunch of gobbledygook, and which leans left. The Raleigh mayor, Marianne Baldwin, she has issued a 10 p.m. citywide curfew for Friday and Saturday nights. Apparently there is talk of protest this weekend, Friday night. An event is planned to protest the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So let's not wait for any information to come out. Let's just go ahead and plan our protest. The quote, there are voices that need to be heard and important stories and experiences that need to be shared, Baldwin said in her announcement. The call for justice for Jacob Blake, George Floyd, and others, and countless other black and brown Americans continues today. So, call for justice for George Floyd. So are we going to have any kind of extra information coming from the mayor concerning the memorandums that were released yesterday from earlier this summer? And again, no reason why these memorandums were not released a long time ago, that said that George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose, not of asphyxiation. Just asking. By the way, it's interesting to note that the whole protest, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, anarchist, it's not going in the right direction for the Dems. Interesting polls out. I mentioned yesterday the Rasmussen poll, where essentially Rasmussen came out and said the presidential race is a dead heat. Well, that was not an outlier. Zogby came out with a poll late yesterday. The story didn't really come out until today. The Washington Examiner is covering this. Buoyed by blacks and independent voters as well as urban dwellers, shocked by the Black Lives Matter protests, violence raging in some cities, President Trump's approval rating has hit a new high, according to a survey heavy with minority voters. The latest Zogby Analytics poll, just shared with the Washington Examiner, had Trump's approval at 52%. Now, that's not saying he's winning the election by 52%, but that's where his approval is. The president has recorded his best job approval rating on record, said Jonathan Zogby. What's more, his approval rating among minorities was solid, and in the case of African Americans, shockingly high. Zogby said 36% of blacks approve of the president, as do 37% of Hispanics and 35% of Asians. Approval amongst independents voters is also up to 44%, and unbelievable, 23% of Democrats approve of Trump. Now, why? Why would 23% of Democrats approve of what Trump's doing? Because the narrative, which is becoming more and more obvious, even though the mainstream media is trying to hide it, the narrative, which is really obvious from what the Democrats aren't saying. I mean, finally, Joe Biden is coming out and saying, well, I'm condemning the violence. Finally, I think it's too little too late. But the narrative, which is very obvious to anybody that has observed what's going on in the news, is the Democrats, they're not going to do anything to stop the protest. Well, I don't like to use the word protest. The riots, the anarchy. The protests have long passed. The protests took place right after George Floyd passed away. But what's going on now is anarchy. It is violence. It is thuggery. It is looting. People don't like it. People don't want it. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, whatever. People don't want to live like that. It's obvious that Donald Trump is opposed to that, and it's pretty obvious by the lack of nothing was said last week at the Democratic convention. Nothing about the riots that are going on. Now, Joe Biden had an interview today with MSNBC. What was interesting about that is Joe Biden said, well, we never had any kind of riots when we had the White House. When Barack and I were in charge, there were no riots going on. Hello? Do you remember Ferguson? Do you remember Michael Brown? Yeah, you had riots. In fact, it was bad. What was the governor of Missouri? That guy Nixon. He was pretty adamant that things were not good when that whole Ferguson stuff was going on. But so anyway, Trump pops to 52% best job approval on record. When it comes to the protests, when it comes to all the screaming and hollering, every time I hear Juan Williams say that the vast majority of Americans agree with the protesters, I want to throw something at the TV. Juan Williams, if you look at the polling, the vast number of Americans agree with these protesters. And again, these aren't protesters. These are not protesters. These people are rioters. They're anarchists. The Daily Caller is reporting that Americans across racial lines remain overwhelmingly opposed to violent protests, rioting, anarchists, quote, improve the situation of black Americans. Americans across racial lines remain overwhelmingly opposed to violent protests to improve the situation of black Americans, with 73% of respondents indicating it tends to hurt that cause, according to Gallup. The poll found a higher percentage of white Americans opposed violent protests, 79%, than black Americans, still a majority, 59%. Both groups overwhelmingly agreed that nonviolent protests help blacks, with 78% of whites supporting it and 72% of blacks are supporting it. And again, the problem is there are no peaceful protests right now. The poll also found that Americans don't tend to sympathize with violent protesters who engage in looting or property damage, and with only 41% of overall respondents indicating so. However, the question did uncover an apparent racial divide on the issue, 60% of black Americans finding sympathy, with only 38% of whites doing so. But sympathy or not, 12% of black Americans and 8% of white Americans say violent protests are never justified. Never justified. In Wisconsin, again, this is more good news for the Republicans, not good for Joey. In Wisconsin, support for Black Lives Matter has gone from a plus 25 approval to a net zero within 2 months. It turns out the people of Wisconsin are fed up with the Marxist Black Lives Matter mob destroying businesses, calling death for police. Public support for Black Lives Matter in Wisconsin has gone from plus 25 to a net zero. The poll was taken prior to, this is it's probably worse now. The poll was taken prior to Jacob Blake's shooting and the Kenosha riots. Again, bad news for the Democratic Party. In June of this year, 61% approved, 36% disapproved of Black Lives Matter. That was a net approval of 25%, or plus 25. By early August, 48% approved, 48% disapproved, a net approval of 0. The far-left New York Magazine hack Jonathan Chait admits this is a problem for Democrats in Wisconsin, a historically blue state that Donald Trump won in 2016. Yeah. Let's go ahead and play this now. Speaking of Kenosha and rioting and anarchy, CNN is reporting from Kenosha. What's the guy's name? Young black 20-something. He's reporting, and while he's reporting, there are buildings not smoldering. I mean, they're up in flames behind him. I mean, the place is on fire. And the guy's talking about how this is a peaceful protest.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. A second night since Jacob Blake was seen shot in the back 7 times by a police officer. And what you are seeing now, these images came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement.
Kid's name is Jimenez, Omar Jimenez. So mostly peaceful. The city's burning. So what are they, toasting marshmallows in the fire? Mostly peaceful? Little campfire there? The place is burning to the ground. And again, 80% of the Kenosha businesses that are destroyed are black-owned businesses. Unbelievable. And yet the Democrats, I think they finally got it. They finally got it. We're not going to win if we keep burning the cities to the ground. Can they turn it off? Can they stop the anarchists? I'm not sure. I will say this though. They have gotten the message. I think it's too little, too late. And now in this MSNBC interview that Joe Biden did earlier today, he is trying to blame the whole thing on Donald Trump. And it's all that's not going to sell. That's going to, for the last 90 days, since May the 25th, you all have been sitting aside and just sort of shrugging your shoulders, calling it a peaceful protest while city after city burns to the ground. After 90 days, people aren't going to buy it, Joe. We got to take a time out. Stay with us on this Political Trivia Thursday. Much more to come. We'll be right back.
We don't see a lot of Wall Street CEOs or billionaires in rural North Carolina. Things are different here. We work hard, raise our kids right, and pull together when we need to. And we don't like being taken advantage of. Problem is, Senator Tom Tillis sided with corporate America, not rural America. He may say the right things when he's here, but he's doing things that hurt rural North Carolinians, especially on health care. See, Tillis voted to let insurance companies kick us off our coverage if we have a pre-existing condition like cancer or asthma. Tillis even voted to cut funding for rural hospitals, and nearly a dozen here have closed in recent years. Hospitals that rural North Carolina desperately needs during a pandemic. Tell Tom Tillis to stop backing the big insurance companies and start supporting the Rebuild Rural America Act. Because rural North Carolina is sick of being taken advantage of. Paid for by duty and honor.
I'm here with my good friend Scott Shook of the Shook Rouse Group of BB&T Scott and Stringfellow. Scott, what are the main philosophies that you and Thomas follow to help your clients?
Henry, we start by talking with our clients about their financial goals. Once we have an understanding of what they want to accomplish, we advise them on investing their assets in a manner they can be comfortable with through good times and bad. We firmly believe that asset allocation, diversification, and rebalancing are the only long-term strategy, not timing the market.
Scott, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
That's easy, Henry. Just give us a call at 252-378-3299.
BB&T Scott & Stringfellow is a division of BB&T Securities LLC, member FINRA SIPC. BB&T Securities is a wholly owned non-bank subsidiary of Truist Financial Corporation. Securities and insurance products or annuities sold, offered, or recommended are not a deposit, not FDIC insured, not guaranteed by a bank, not insured by any federal government agency, and may lose value. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Asset allocation cannot eliminate the risk of fluctuating prices and uncertain returns. Diversifying investments does not insure against market loss.
For more than 85 years, families in and surrounding Pitt County have trusted Wilkerson Funeral Home and the Wilkerson family to serve them when they have experienced the loss of a loved one.
With the addition of Farmer Funeral Service in Ayden, we now have 3 traditional funeral homes, each with their own chapel, serving all faiths. We also recently introduced Winterville Cremation and Funeral Services, a new concept created to better serve families seeking a simpler and less costly funeral.
From the combination of our successful pre-need program, our multi multi-garden cemetery featuring traditional burial, mausoleums, niches, and a new open-air chapel, the Wilkerson family continues to be innovative and the trusted choice in funeral care. Let us introduce you to the growing Wilkerson family of companies. Chances are we may have already touched your family. If so, we thank you. If not, you can count on and trust us to serve your family with the same dignified and compassionate care that we have been known for since 1932.
To learn more, visit wilkersonfuneralhome.com.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome back in. Time to take a look at your weather forecast, and looks pretty good. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 93. Tomorrow night, a slight chance of precip with lows around 77, just a 20% chance of rain tomorrow. Then Saturday afternoon, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, and that'll linger around till sometime in the early evening. And then Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 86. So overall, not too bad. Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Golf and Country Club. This year, celebrate your big event at Ironwood. We've made over $300,000 in upgrades and improvements in our good-looking plantation-style clubhouse. It is gorgeous, and it's brand new, basically. Host your wedding, birthday, anniversary, baby reveal party, any kind of celebration, business meeting, holiday parties. Ironwood offers several private party spaces leading out to terraces with beautiful views of our Lee Trevino signature golf course. Make your celebration this year one to remember at one of the most beautiful venues in eastern North Carolina. Contact Taylor Hetzel, banquet manager at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Her number is 252-752-4653, or you may email Taylor at foodandbeverage@ironwoodgolf.com. This is a political trivia edition of News and Views. We will play in a little bit. Your category is the Great Depression. Don't call yet. We'll play in a little bit. I want to remind all of our listeners, before I get to this next story, you heard it here first. I've been saying this for probably a couple of months now. Joe Biden is not going to debate. The Washington Examiner and a number of other media outlets reported today that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters on Thursday, this is Cut One Clark, told reporters on Thursday today that Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden should avoid debating President Trump ahead of the November 3rd elections. She said, I don't think there should be any debates.
I myself, just don't tell anybody I told you this, especially don't tell Joe Biden. I don't think that there should be any debates. I do not think that the President of the United States has comported himself in a way that anybody should, and has any association with truth, evidence, data, and facts. I wouldn't legitimize a conversation with him, nor a debate in terms of the presidency of the United States. Now, I know that the Biden campaign thinks in a different way about this. So if Joe Biden asked you what I thought about it, I don't think that he should dignify that conversation with Donald Trump. You ask them any questions, both of them, just take their own stage for any number of conversations about any subjects. Hold them accountable.
So what she's saying is he shouldn't debate, and if there's any kind of questions you actually want to ask, just go ahead and ask them. You hold the debates by asking the individual candidates any questions you want. Queen Nancy, do you remember back just to a couple of weeks ago in the first event that Kamala and Joe had? CNN tried to ask questions and they quickly got rid of them. Sorry, gotta go. No questions. He doesn't answer any questions. Every time he does an interview, it's a hand-picked individual from some liberal network that's going to hand him nothing but softball questions. And that's exactly what happened with MSNBC today. You know, basically was we're going to criticize what Mike Pence said last night about how lawlessness will run rampant under a Joe Biden administration, which is true. Right now, there are 3 presidential debates that are scheduled for between September 29th and October 22nd. Now, Biden's campaign came out and said, "Oh, no, we're gonna debate. We're gonna debate." Within just a few minutes, they came out. Andrew Bates shot down Pelosi's suggestion. Of course they did. But give it time. That is not the final answer. They'll in the next week or two, they'll begin to hem and haw. There'll be something that will come. I don't know, COVID could be a problem. You know, is Donald going to wear a mask? If he doesn't wear a mask, I can't debate. Listen, Nancy comes out and says, "Oh, don't tell Joe Biden this. Don't whisper this to Joe Biden, but I don't think he should debate." Listen, Joe Biden's campaign fed that to Nancy. I don't know that we'll ever know, but if we could know, I promise you, they asked Nancy, "Go ahead and release this. We don't want the senile old guy getting shot down by Donald Trump. It's already going in the wrong direction. If we debate, we're in deep trouble." But here's the problem. If the polls continue to go in the direction that they look like they're going, that they're beginning to move, and this is just the beginning of the movement, it'll really be interesting to see if next week that the president's campaign gets a bump. He's speaking tonight. If he gets a bump, we'll know. We might even know as early as tomorrow, but certainly by next Monday we should know. If it's going in the wrong direction for Joe, Joe's going to have to debate. I mean, if it becomes really obvious that he can't win this thing staying in his basement, he's going to have to debate. And then it's really game over. 5618255. Mike has been hanging on there. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing this evening, Tom?
I'm doing well. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, got a little something to say about Jacob Blake, that, I don't know, the Darwin Award winner almost out of Kenosha. And the NCAA, whoever that guy was, talking his smack.
Mark Emmett.
Yeah, he's irrelevant. So all of those people that are saying that crap, Jacob Blake did not get shot because he was black. The idea that he got shot because he was black is ridiculous. He got shot because he resisted arrest and then tried to grab a weapon to officers. It has absolutely nothing to do with race. To say that it has to do with race is a lie.
I agree with you. But what we're going to try to do is we'll try to vilify the cops. They want to continue that narrative, defund the police and vilify the cops, and let's bring on anarchy.
Joe Biden's for defunding the police. He came out and said that.
I mean, he said it. I don't think he used the words defund. Reallocate funds is what he said. But we're gonna reallocate them in such a way that they have less. I think that's called defunding.
One more quick thing. The thing that was most disturbing about Nancy Pelosi's comments about whether Biden should debate or not. Did you listen to how she described the sitting president of the United States of America?
Oh yeah.
If during Barack Obama's tenure as president of the United States, however loathsome I found him, I respected the office. If people want to talk about activities that are presidential or not presidential, I would refer them to William Jefferson Blythe Clinton, and his escapades in the Oval Office were not necessarily presidential, yet they appear to have no problems at all with having him speak at their convention.
Well, the thing that I really argue with when people say he's not acting presidential, you know what? Some of the non-presidential issues that he does on a personal basis, I wouldn't necessarily do. But the biggest thing is he keeps his word. And that's what they're going to run on. Promises made, promises kept.
I have one question for you about Donald Trump. When Donald Trump was first running for office, you knew who Donald Trump was. You'd seen him in the media before. You saw him on The Apprentice. You'd seen his books. You know he'd been divorced, all of the travails. It's been in the tabloids for decades, okay? Nobody voted for Donald Trump because they figured, oh, here's another guy that's going to be an extreme politician, and he's going to be the status quo. No, but not one single Trump voter did that.
Well,
it was, he's an outsider. He's not a politician. That's what we need. And, oh, wait a minute, he's being effective.
Well, I will admit, when he was running the first time, early on, I was really looking at him very skeptically. And I looked at him and I said, okay, well, this guy, his background, some of the positive things he said about liberal individuals, that bothered me, and his personal lifestyle bothered me as well. But, at the same time, though, since he has been president, he has done everything that he said he was going to do, and then some. He is in my lifetime, he's the only president I can think of that has kept his word on so many issues, despite all kinds of pushback from the media and from the left, and even from his own party. And yet he fights on. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
And I would contend that that's probably acting pretty presidential.
Well, listen, it is better to do that than to get up there all prim and proper with your $500, $5,000 suits with, your starch shirts, and make sure every word you speak is exactly right. And yet you never do what you say you're going to do, which in my definition, that's a liar. Someone who doesn't ever do what they say they're going to promise to do and not keep their campaign promises. Yes, I would much rather have a guy that has character flaws, but actually does what he says he's going to do any day of the week. And yes, in my estimation, that is much more presidential. Thank you, Mike.
You have a lovely evening.
You too. Appreciate it. Let's see. Sam. Sam's on the line. Hey, Sam.
Hey, afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, the polls are what they are. I've been watching the betting odds, though, and they're very interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. We actually talked about that earlier in the week. Yeah, the betting odds have dropped big time for Joe Biden.
Big time. Yeah, $45 Trump was paying. Now he's down to $5, so it's almost even money at this point. And your previous caller, as far as presidential, I see that shift, and I'm very encouraged by that. And I think it's something that we should all pay attention to.
Absolutely. And it's really going to be interesting to see the bump after what we've seen over the last couple of nights. And I'll tell you what, this might be the new norm for how conventions are presented. I find that the current convention that the Republicans are airing, they have just the best of both worlds. I mean, they had Mike Pence out in front of a small but live audience. But remember when Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas and he spoke at the Democratic convention? Of course, we were going back, 25 years ago or so. But he rambled on for like 50 minutes, and people were just losing their minds because he was so long and long-winded and boring. I like the spontaneity of these quick little 5-minute thoughts by real Americans. I think they have done a masterful job at making it interesting, making it of high technical quality, and keeping the interest of the viewer. I mean, it moves so quickly, you never get bored. And if you say, well, this person isn't all that exciting, you wait 2 minutes and somebody else is up there. I think they've done a great job.
I totally agree. And one more quick thing. On Tuesday night, did you see Daniel Cameron, the AG from Kentucky?
I did. He hit it out of the park.
He could have kept talking. He was fantastic, a rising star in the party. I hope really
absolutely. And this guy last night, the Democrat, I think his name was John Brewer, he hit it out of the park. I think he was the one that gave the history lesson last night, talking about, if you're an African American and you think the Republican, and they did a great job with the women's vote last night too. I don't know if you saw that part of it, but just explaining it was the Republicans that allowed women to have the right to vote. They've got some smart people working on this convention presentation, and tonight should be the best night. We'll see.
Know your history and tell the truth. That's all you have to do.
There you go, Sam. I appreciate it. 5618255. I tell you what, let's do though. Let's shut down the phone lines for now, and let's open them back up for political trivia, shall we? 5618255. Got a great prize package. Your category, the Great Depression. So give us a call. We'll play political trivia when we get back.
We say now is the best time ever to trade in your vehicle and get a new ride at Hastings Ford. We ain't kidding. Why now? Listen to this. Hastings Ford has 0% for 72 months now on many models, but here's the best part. In addition to historically low interest rates, Hastings is now offering the top trade-in values for your car or truck. Vehicles that may have not been as high in value a few months back are now worth thousands more when you trade in. The national used car shortage has hit Hastings Ford, and they need your vehicle. Combine that with a great inventory of new Fords getting better every day and 0% 0% for 72 months. And you simply will never find a better time to get a new car or truck. Bronco's coming. And don't forget the new Bronco and Bronco Sport are coming to Hastings Ford. Hastings taking orders daily for the Broncos, so get yours in now. More details on how to place your order at HastingsFord.com. Now is the time. Hastings Ford is the place. 0% for 72 months and the top trade value for your car. Take advantage of this opportunity right now at Hastings Ford, 10th Street in Greenville.
My mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's 7 years ago. Her dementia is worsening, and after Dad passed, I moved her in with my husband and I. Mom's fought this beast for so long, and I can tell she's tired. Mom deserves better. Mom deserves home. Mom deserves the team at Pruitt Health Hospice. You see, I thought hospice was only for people in their dying days, but I was wrong. Pruitt Health Hospice brought Mom back to her life. The partners at Pruitt Health Hospice work to treat the whole person, not just the signs and symptoms of an illness. That means they support their patients, yes, physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Pruitt Health Hospice provides nurses, social workers, chaplains, CNAs, volunteers, and physicians, all from the comfort of our home. They worked together to provide forms of patient care that ultimately shared a common goal: to relieve my mother's suffering and improve her quality of life, however long that may be. Thank you, Pruitt Health Hospice, for all you do and for being committed to caring.
With summer winding down and fall around the corner, don't let the family fun end. Wimbledon Tennis and Recreation Center is offering a special rate until the end of the year of just $60 per person or $75 per family with a $200 initiation fee. Get in the game with year-round activities including Wimbledon's outdoor lighted hydro grid clay courts, 3 indoor high-quality tennis courts, and access to a state-of-the-art fitness center. Your membership includes indoor and outdoor tennis, pickleball, outdoor pool, and a fitness center with equipment and weight training. They offer tri-tennis programs, youth and adult activities, monthly member specials and tournaments, and lessons from their USPA certified on-site pro, Will Bissett, and staff. Wimbledon Tennis and Recreation Center is located right in the heart of Greenville off Arlington Boulevard on Wimbledon Drive. For membership information, contact Whitney Sauter at 252-916-5333. Again, that's 252-916-5333. Or visit their website at wimbledonathletics.com.
In the studio with Natalie Ains from Simply Natural Creamery. And Natalie, Simply Natural is now all over Eastern North Carolina.
That's correct, Henry. So we have our farm in Greene County. We have a store in Greenville and Arlington. And now we have a new store in Morehead City on Arundel Street.
What makes the ice cream and the milk so good at Simply Natural?
Well, Simply Natural is a Jersey-only cow farm, so that means our girls produce higher quality milk, which is 20% higher in butter fat, and it also allows people who are lactose intolerant to enjoy all of our products because of a special protein they carry.
Do you offer education tours and that kind of thing on the farm?
We do, that's correct. So 10 months out of the year, families and schools can come and visit and learn a little bit about what we do at Simply Natural.
Simply Natural Creamery, folks, if you've never had it, it is so good. Natalie, tell us again where the locations for Simply Natural stores are.
So we have our farm that we process all of our products in Greene County, and then we have our store at Arlington in Greenville, North Carolina, and Arundel Street in Morehead City. From our farm to your family, Simply Natural Creamery is just simply delicious.
All right, welcome back in. Time for a little political trivia. 5618255. I think we got one line open. Your category, the Great Depression. Your prize package includes a free oil change for your car or pickup at Dave Davis's East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep or at Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Also, a $20 gift card to Gwendy's Goodie Bakery in Ayden. Delicious baked fresh, made from scratch goodies. A $20 gift card to Mucho Bueno for lunch or dinner. Mucho Bueno, real Mexican street food located in front of the Westbrook Shopping Center, US 70 West in Havelock. Also, a gift card for a free round of golf with cart at Ironwood. A $60 diagnostic card from University PC Care for any iPhone or PC repair. And a $20 gift card to the Pirates Cove Car Wash, a proud partner of the ECU Courtesy Car Program, and a gift certificate from Fit for Life 24, including 2 free training sessions with a fitness coach. First up for political trivia is Sean from Roper. Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Good. You're the first one up. I think this is going to go fairly quick, though. All right? Your category, the Great Depression. Herbert Hoover was the president during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, many people had what was known as a Hoover blanket. What were Hoover blankets?
Government issue green wool blankets?
That's not it. That's not it. Good guess, though. Thanks, Sean. 561-8255. Let's go to New Bern. We have Mike on the line. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys.
What do you think? What were Hoover blankets?
That's where you hid your money under.
That's not it either. Good guess. 561-8255. That opens up 2 lines. 561-8255. Let's go to Betty in Greenville. Hey, Betty.
Hi.
Herbert Hoover, president during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, many people had what was known as a Hoover blanket. What were Hoover blankets?
I'm going to guess a burlap sack.
That's not it. That's not it. Good guess. 561-8255. Is it Mitch?
Yeah.
Hey, Mitch. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Greenville, Tom.
All right, Mitch. Did you hear the question?
Yeah.
What do you think was a Hoover blanket? What were Hoover blankets?
I've read this. People used old newspapers.
That's it. That's it. Hoover blankets were old newspapers when people were out in, a lot of people were homeless, and if they were out and about, you used to see this in old movies from the 1920s and 1930s, somebody lying on the park bench underneath the newspaper. That's what a Hoover blanket was.
I remember my mother told me once that she and her family had to live in a garage for like months, which was not pleasant.
Wow.
A garage.
Yeah, and they probably had their own Hoover blankets. So,
probably, well, I don't know unless somebody threw some papers away. Otherwise, they just, didn't.
Yeah. All right, Mitch, listen, congratulations. Hang on there. Clark's going to get all your information. We got a boatload of prizes we're going to get to you. And thanks for everybody who played. Stay with us. I'll be right back.
Summertime is calling you to upgrade. It's time to trade for a new car, truck, minivan, or Jeep. You deserve it. Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram between Greenville and Washington is stocking a huge amount of used car inventory this summer with cars priced at $5,000 and up. They have everything from coupes, convertibles, small and large SUVs, plus diesel and gas heavy-duty trucks. Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also has great incentives on new inventory, like 0% for 72 months on Jeep Compass. And also on the most awarded SUV of all time, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And employee pricing is back. Buy a new Jeep Gladiator right now and receive factory employee pricing. Don't keep driving around in that old car. Now's the time to trade for a new or pre-owned car, truck, minivan, or Jeep. Go to WashingtonChryslerDodgeJeepRam.com to browse the new and used inventory. Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Drive a little, save a lot.
No one needs long car rides when they're feeling sick, so it's good to know Vidant offers quality care close to home. For help with colds and flu, see doctors online at VidantNow.com or visit our immediate care clinics for sprains and pains. And when it's more serious or life-threatening, go to the closest ER at your local Vidant hospital. With this many choices so near, you're always close to feeling better. Learn more at VidantHealth.com/carelocal.
It's the second annual Emerald Isle Fishing Tournament, September 19th, presented by Jason Holland Mortgage Lending Team, Goose Creek Marine, Real Outdoors, and the Crystal Coast Tourism Development Authority. There are 2 divisions, King Mackerel and Surf. For more information and to register online, go to EmeraldIsleFishingTournament.com. Auction on Facebook Live Wednesday, September 16th at 7 p.m. and Captain's Party on Facebook Live Friday, September 18th at 7 p.m. See you at the second annual Emerald Isle Fishing Tournament.
Thinking about buying a boat? Don't wait till spring. Get exceptional incentives through Park Boat Company and Medio Marine's Smart Buyer Program today. This program lets you select the boat you want and get a great deal. Purchase now and be assured a boat in the spring. Plus, receive great pricing with early season incentives. The best selection. Pick or order the boat of your dreams. Maximized boating time. Receive your boat in the spring, not June or July. Maximum trade value, service, and storage savings. Trade now. Don't pay for service and storage of your current boat. And take advantage of upcoming promotions. Any manufacturer deals offered between now and delivery of your boat will be honored. Why buy now? It's simple. Get the best of both worlds. Early season discounts plus boat show special incentives. Not sure? Let us give you up to $6,000 in reasons to buy today. Head to Park Boat Company in Washington or Medio Marine for information on our Smart Buyer Program today.
Back to News and Views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Congratulations, Mitch Landon of Greenville. He got it right. A Hoover blanket was the newspaper. You know, do we have that today? Are we so bad off today that there are any situations where people are actually under newspapers? Even the illegal immigrants that come across are given those thermal blankets. So I think the answer to that is no. Of course, we don't even have newspapers anymore, do we? Everything's online. So you're going to cover yourself up in your laptop. Carolina Journal is reporting Governor Roy Cooper has proposed a $25 billion budget. Joe Colati from the Carolina Journal said this is the least serious of the governor's budget proposals, and that's saying something. It's not sustainable. Cooper says his plans won't require new taxes, but the state would take out almost $5 billion in new debt. I thought we had to have a balanced budget. How do you do that? If we're required to have a balanced budget, how do you have a budget that is basically in the red by $5 billion? He wants to expand Medicaid, increase unemployment, take $85 million from the Opportunity Scholarship Program and a one-time budget cut. Can you say he's all about the teacher unions? Okay, I know we technically don't have a union, but for all intents and purposes, he's bending over backwards to make sure opportunity scholarships are over and done. He wants to spend $360 million to give teachers and principals a $2,000 bonus, support staff a $1,000 bonus, community college and university employees a $1,500 bonus. But opportunity scholarships, no. He wants to give $132 million to K through 12 public schools, put $4.3 billion bond on the 21 ballot to borrow $2 billion for school construction. $800 million. Anyway, it goes on and on. But the bottom line is it's way, 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 way overspending, just as Bev Perdue did. And here's the thing. He's going to run the budget into the ground, and he's going to leave it just as Pat McCrory and the North Carolina legislature had to come in and clean up the mess. This is basically what he'd be going after again. And, this is so much. I've used this analogy before, but it is so true. This is like the good parent, bad parent. Single moms, I have so much respect for you because I don't know how you do it. But, it's like the single mom who's trying to raise her kids in a responsible manner. And then you got some guy who's run off. He's the dad. And I suppose it could be the other way around. And there are some cases where it is the other way around. I'm just using this as an example. You got the dad comes in, he spoils the kids. So what do the kids do? Oh, I love Dad. I love Dad. He gives me anything I want. This is the exact same thing Roy Cooper's doing. Totally irresponsible. But hey, it's an election year, so I'm just going to give away as much stuff as I can possibly give away. It's called buying votes with other people's money. This is great. The Daily Caller is reporting Rachel Maddow, MSNBC. She decided she would fact check the speech given by South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. She spoke at the Republican National Convention last night. Don't know if you heard it, but she did a great job. She's another rising star in the Republican Party. So she gave, in her speech, it included a condemnation of mob violence in major U.S. cities and a warning against the path taken by Democrats and their radical supporters. Quote, we're just going to interject here just for a moment. This is what Maddow said. So, again, Kristi Noem comes in and she says, among other things, that all these cities in which we're having this terrible violence are run by Democrats. So then Maddow comes in and says, okay, we're just going to interject here just for a moment. So after Kristi Noem says that, Maddow decides she's more important. Let's set aside Kristi Noem. And we're going to fact check the South Dakota governor. And we've got someone who can fact check her for us. This is unbelievable. So one of the things that Kristi Noem says specifically was that cities like Seattle, that is run by a Democrat, are in chaos. So who does Rachel Maddow bring in to fact check what Kristi Noem said? Jenny Durkin, The mayor of Seattle. Oh, that's unbiased. So the next time Nancy Pelosi goes after Donald Trump at a press conference, is Rachel Maddow going to bring in Donald Trump to fact check what Nancy Pelosi has said? Unbelievable. I mean, that's even gone too far for MSNBC. But they're partners in crime, CNN. Don Lemon was on a podcast. It was released earlier today. CNN host Don Lemon defended calling President Donald Trump a bigot and a racist, saying he was only speaking the truth and it doesn't make CNN Tonight host biased. Oh, well, since you said it, yeah. Since you said it, it must be the truth, and therefore it's not biased. It's factual. Lemon is billed by CNN as a nonpartisan anchor, but regularly attacks the president with far-left opinion. Mediaite's Aidan McLaughlin confronted Lemon's recent rhetoric, specifically calling Trump a bigot and a racist during recent segments. Do you think that journalists should be more forthright in how they describe Trump's behavior, or critics would say that's exposing their bias, McLaughlin said to Lemon. How is being factual bias? How is taking evidence of someone's own words and their own actions and their own policies and just presenting it back to the public on television or whatever medium, whatever journalist medium you happen to be in, how is that bias? Then Lemon cited Trump once referring to an African country as a blank hole. African Americans, as example, Trump's racist actions. So if Trump had praised an African nation, which he has, by the way, does that mean he's favorable to African Americans? But he says, he's mistreated African Americans, therefore I'm not biased and he's wrong. But let's not cite any specific examples. Unbelievable. But he's not biased. Hey, we got to run. Congratulations again to Mitch Landon, our political trivia winner. We'll do it again tomorrow at 5. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
The Beaver Lake Ski Club is pleased to host the Beaver Lake Challenge Water Ski Tournament.